One pencil line exposed 18 sabotaged warplanes and saved 180 lives. The Army banned her test. She did it anyway. April 12, 1943. It was a chilly morning in a bustling airplane factory on Long Island. Outside, engines roared and rivet guns screamed. Beneath a partially constructed bomber, a young woman stood alone, pencil in hand. Her hands trembled slightly. Above her, the clock ticked ominously. Pilots were already losing their lives in planes like this overseas. The Army Air Forces brimmed with confidence. American planes rolled off assembly lines faster than ever before. New factories, fresh workers, and enhanced power were all part of this effort. German pilots had come to fear American bombers. Production lines spanned the nation, from California to Connecticut and Michigan to Texas. Yet crashes were on the rise. Engines failed, wings snapped, and planes plummeted from clear skies. The reasons remained a mystery. Then, this woman drew a single line. Her name was Beatrice Schilling. She wasn't a household name or someone who drew attention. As a test inspector, her responsibilities seemed straightforward. Inspect planes, sign documents, and move on. Yet, she noticed details that others overlooked: tiny gaps, misaligned bolts, and parts that didn't match specifications. She slowly ran her pencil along the seams. The pencil dipped repeatedly. It should not have done so. Quick note: if you enjoy intriguing World War II stories like this, consider subscribing. We share real moments, real people, and true history weekly. Trust me, this one only gets wilder. That pencil line would unearth 18 sabotaged planes, thwart a concealed enemy scheme, and save countless lives. This is the account of the test that was forbidden, and the woman who persisted in using it. Before the war, Americans believed their factories were invulnerable. No bombs ever fell on New York, and Detroit remained unscathed. Planes were produced around the clock, as workers came from farms, shops, and schools. Many had never constructed anything before. The demands for aircraft were astounding. Hundreds of bombers were needed each month, totaling thousands annually. Speed took precedence over skill. Supervisors emphasized numbers, and production quotas lined every wall. Planes had to be ready for the skies. German spies understood this. They closely monitored American industry, identifying vulnerabilities. Unable to bomb the factories, they infiltrated them instead. Some posed as workers, while others paid current employees. The intentions were straightforward: inflicted minor damage, hard to detect. A loose bolt, a shaved brace, a subtle crack, nothing. Substantial enough to spot quickly, yet sufficient to cause failure later. High in the skies, far from home, where assistance would be impossible. Initially, crashes seemed part of the norm. War is perilous. Planes fail, and pilots perish under stress. Yet crash statistics kept rising. Talented pilots, new aircraft, clear weather still, they plummeted. Commanders pointed fingers at inadequate training. Engineers blamed material fatigue and combat stress. No one ever considered the factory floor as a potential issue. Such thoughts were unacceptable. American manufacturing was deemed the arsenal of democracy, and, though quiet, she was perceptive. Growing up, she had a knack for fixing things: bikes, radios, everything broken. Her father instilled in her the importance of trusting what her hands could sense and what her eyes could observe. During a routine check, her pencil ran across a wing seam. It dipped slightly. She paused. Rechecking the specifications was crucial. The seam was meant to be flush and perfectly aligned. She examined another plane. The same dip appeared, followed by another. Beatrice began using her pencil on every accessible plane and quickly developed a ritual, an obsession. If the seam was flat, she moved on. If it dipped, she marked it. Her list began to grow, filled with too many planes and too many dips, all creating alarming patterns. She reported her findings, only to be met with laughter from the managers. A pencil wasn't a legitimate tool. Nor was it listed in the manual. They demanded she cease slowing production. Numbers were paramount, yet she refused to relent. She worked nights and started early in the morning, before shifts began and after hours. Beatrice inspected planes, Others hurried past. She discovered bolts cut too short, braces filed too thin, fuel lines nicked, and rivets loosened just enough, all minor. Hidden from plain sight, but deadly at elevation, she began to trace patterns that revealed the same flaws, the same damaged areas, repeatedly tied to specific production lines. However, when she presented her evidence, the backlash was severe. The penciler test was outlawed, officially banned. Supervisors claimed it upset workers, decreased morale, caused delays, and instilled paranoia on the floor. They ordered her to sign off and proceed with her normal routine. She adamantly refused. But Tatrice meticulously kept records, capturing dates, numbers, and tail identification. Her notebook was her constant companion. Then came the accident that changed everything. A bomber crashed during a routine test flight over Long Island Sound, killing both pilots instantly. Engineers raised the wreck, conducting a thorough inspection. They identified a failed wing brace, deliberately weakened by filing. Beatrice had flagged this weeks earlier. Reviewing her reports, engineers discovered 18 planes exhibited signs of the same damage, all constructed on the same assembly lines, all cleared through standard inspections, primed for deployment to Europe. If they had reached the battlefield, they would have disintegrated. Pilots would have perished, and missions would have... The entire squadron could have been lost. The Army initiated a discreet investigation. Counterintelligence uncovered workers with suspicious associations, late-night meetings in shadows, and unreported missing tools. As the plot unraveled swiftly, arrests followed, production lines were halted, and planes were dismantled and rebuilt. Comprehensive checks were enforced nationwide. The penciled test no longer bore a stigma. It became standard protocol. Inspectors were instructed to trust simple tools, their eyes, instincts, and even their doubts. One thin line of graphite achieved what meetings and regulations could not. Pilots noticed the shift. Crash rates plummeted. Confidence surged, and planes returned home damaged yet intact. Crews were able to carry out another mission. Letters from the front lines celebrated trust, the faith in the planes beneath them, and the people who constructed them back home. Beatrice never sought accolades. She avoided interviews, choosing to remain at her post. She trained others, teaching them to take their time, to feel seams with their fingertips, and to heed subtle warnings. She saved lives without leaving the ground or firing a shot. After the war, myriad stories emerged about aces and their triumphs, battles and heroics, powerful weaponry and massive bombs. Few spoke of factory floors or mentioned inspectors. Nearly none acknowledged the woman with a simple pencil. Yet, pilots remembered. Some wrote to her. Others visited years later to express their gratitude, thanking her for their lives, families, and futures. On that April morning, she returned to the same spot, the same noise, the same scent of oil, metal, and potential. She drew her pencil line again. This time, it remained flat, perfect, and true. A slight smile crossed her face. Her story contributed to a larger narrative. America didn't merely triumph through bombs and aircraft. It won because of people who cared. Those who questioned authority when something felt amiss. People who refused to rush past danger for the sake of quotas. From shipyards to airfields, small decisions compounded to create immense strength. By 1944, American factories produced more planes than all Axis nations combined that year. Millions of workers, thousands of inspections, and countless small acts of diligence and courage contributed to the difference between life and death in the skies. Here's the number that truly matters. 18 planes. That's how many she prevented from flying. Each aircraft carried 10 men. That equates to 180 lives saved because of one pencil line, one woman, one refusal to ignore danger. Thank you for engaging with this story. If it resonated with you, please share it with someone who could benefit from hearing it. Subscribe for more authentic World War II stories like this. Next time, we'll explore another hidden battle you probably haven't heard about.